Good morning, Rabbi We are actually continuing. They explain, we were talking about Elu Treifas. These are Treifas, so we're continuing with the type of a Treifa. We're discussing the famous halacha called Ben Pekua. Ben Pekua is a fascinating halacha here. I'll show you, I'll remind you this. It's an older video, but it's should be a classic. So what happened there? There's a cow that was pregnant and she had a shechita. That shechita works on the fetus. You don't have to shech the fetus. We're going to see if they walked around, maybe like in this video, maybe the Rabbanan Sasati. But the baby, you're allowed to eat without a shechita. Behema mekasha leilad. The Mishnah just tells us the background of the story. It's not important. The animal had a hard time giving birth. V'haitzi ha'ubar es yodai. And the fetus stuck its hand out. Now, we're talking about a Ben Pekua. The shechita of the mother works on the fetus. You don't have to shech the fetus. You're allowed to eat the fetus. If everything would remain in the mother, then the shechita works. The problem is, something came out. Now, it depends what part of the animal came out. The leg, the foot, the hand, or the head. Big difference. Because if the hand of the animal comes out, then that hand didn't have a shechita. So if the hand remained outside of the animal and then we did a shechita, of course the shechita doesn't work on the hand. The thing is, the animal brought its hand back in. And then there was a shechita. What does the Mishnah say? Let's read together. Mutar ba'achila. What's mutar ba'achila? What? The hand or the animal? The animal? So then what's the difference? So why does it say that it brought its hand back in? And if the hand remained outside, you're not allowed to eat the animal. We have to be medayik in all the words. It seems like B'hoitzi Uber is Yodiv Zero Mutar B'achila. It seems like the hand is Mutar B'achila. That's how I would learn it. Because if it's the whole animal, then I don't care if the animal took its hand back in. It's not going to help me. If you can't eat the hand, why does it say that it brought the hand back in? You can't eat the hand whether it remained outside or brought back in, according to what you're telling me. Mutar b'achila l'chayr means the whole the hand also. The animal inside for sure, but the hand also. But the Mishnah makes an afkamina. Haitzi is roishal. But if the animal stuck its head out, head is different. Head is like a complete birth. Once an animal is born, you can't put it back in its mother and shech the mother and say, oh, it's a Ben Pekua. It was born. Finished. Haitzi is roishal. Once it stuck its head out, av b'shech zero, even if it pulled its head back in, it's already born. The shechita of the mother doesn't help the fetus. What if you cut a body part off surgically, stick a knife in, you cut a leg off from the animal while it's still in utero, in the inside, and it remained inside, but it's not attached to the baby anymore. It's a dangling leg somewhere inside the mother. The shechita works. Mutar b'achila, you're allowed to eat it. Why? It's no different than the lungs of the mother. But here's the tremendous chiddush. If you were to chop off the lung of the mother and it remained inside, and then you did shechita, you wouldn't be able to eat the lung afterwards. Why? That would be eiver min hachayis. So the Mishnah gives a different example. Minat choyel minat chloyos. These are organs that if you do cut out, the animal won't die. So it's not a treifa. And you take the spleen, you cut the spleen and you leave it inside. You take one of the kidneys, you cut one of them off and you leave it inside. Also b'achila. You're not permitted to eat that kidney after you shech the mother. Why? Because the kidney is Eiver min achai while the animal's alive. When I cut the kidney, you're not allowed to eat that kidney that minute. It's Eiver min achai. So just because you left it inside the animal and you did shechita to the mother, we're talking about the kidney of the mother, not the kidney of the baby, yeah? Nachamol. Let's start over. I'm starting again. If you cut the lung of the mother, and you cut the kidney of the mother, forget it, she's not even pregnant. We have an animal that's not pregnant. You cut one of the organs, and the organ remains inside. At that moment that you cut the organ, it's Eiver min achai. Eiver min achai, you can't make mutter. There's no such thing. If I cut a leg off a live animal, am I allowed to eat it? No, it's Eiver min achai. Then I shech the mother. Am I allowed to eat the leg? No. Once it's Eiver min achai, it's Eiver min achai. I cut the kidney of the mother. It doesn't come out to the world. It's in the mother's stomach. Am I allowed to eat it at this moment? No, it's Eiver min achai. So just because I shechted the mother 5 minutes later doesn't make the kidney mutter. The kidney is awesome. Oh, but if I cut the leg of the animal and it remains inside, now it's in the animal. It's no different than the animal itself. It's no different than the baby animal. The fetus, you ask him, is mutter through the shechita of the mother. So too, its dangling leg is mutter through the shechita of the mother. It's not the mother's aver. It's the baby's aver. So there's no difference. It's one or two. Any aver that's in there, it's murder. Zaklal, this is the rule. Dover shegufa, if it's part of the mother, and you cut it and it stays in there, awesome. V'she'ena gufa, but if it's not part of the mother, then it's mutter. This is today's sugya right over here. The question that I asked you in the Mishnah. Omar Rav Yehud Omar Rav. Comes Rav and says, Ve'ever atzmoi asur. The hand that stuck out the window and pulled it back in, you're not allowed to eat that hand. You're allowed to eat the entire animal and not the hand. My taima. The Omar Crow, Basar Basada Treifa Lo Yichelu. The pasuk says, do not eat the treifa, but there's an interesting word in the pasuk. What it should say is, if you were to write it, you would write, Ubasar Treifa Lo Yichelu. Meat that's treif, don't eat. What's basar basada? Basada. Basada is a place, a field, doesn't have any walls, doesn't have any mechitzas. And the Torah tells us, Kivin shiyatza basar chutz mechitzasa inesa. Once it goes out of its mechitza, like by us, it went out of the mechitza of the mother, nesar, you're not allowed to eat it forever. Treifa, you can't undo, you can't retroactive something that's treif. If it's treif, it's treif. You can't say, oh, but I did this and this and I fixed it and it's not treif anymore. It's nan. Ask the Gemara a question on Rav. We're going to try to beat up Rav here and see if he holds strong, and he does. The ones who argue with Rav, they lose. Again, what does Rav say? We have an animal in the stomach. If you shech the mother, you're allowed to eat the entire baby. But if the baby sticks its foot out and brings it back in, you're not permitted to eat that foot, ever. Even if it's stuck, it brought it back in. The problem is, let's see if it fits in the Mishnah. It's not. It says in our Mishnah, the baby stuck its hand out and brought it back in. Mutar b'achila, you're allowed to eat it. My love, what do you mean mutar b'achila? It's talking about the foot. That's the regular way of reading it. Mutar b'achila, that thing that it stuck out and brought back in, you're allowed to eat? No, we're talking about my love, is talking about the foot. Lo ya'uber, we're talking about the actual baby, but the foot you're not allowed to eat. So the Gemara says, I knew you were going to tell me that, but I had a question. But if you're referring to the baby, so why does the Mishnah say he brought the foot back in? Even if the foot remained outside, nothing changes in the halacha. You're allowed to eat the mother, the baby, and you're not allowed to eat the baby's leg. Why does it say that it brought its leg back in? What difference does it make? Says the Gemara, you're 100% right. There's no difference whatsoever. It doesn't make a difference if it brought its leg back in, you didn't bring the leg back in, you're not allowed to eat that leg, that hand. The second case in the Mishnah that's referring to the head of the animal. Once the head is born, the whole animal is born, and the shechita doesn't help. Even if the animal brings its head back in, over there is a chiddush by the head. Memela, it says a non-chiddush by the hand. You're right, there's zero chiddush. We don't have to say it brought its hand back in. There's no difference if the hand, but we want the Mishnah to be symmetrical. And the second part of the Mishnah is a very nice chiddush. Even though the animal brings its head back into the mother, the shechit of the mother doesn't work on the baby. Why? Because once the head is born, the whole animal is born. Once the animal is born, you can't take an animal that's born and shove it back into its mother and say, oh, the shechita should work. It doesn't work. The animal is born. So there's zero chiddush on the hand. Now, let me ask you a question. If there's zero chiddush on the head, does it make sense? No. Zero chiddush on the hand, zero chiddush on the head. Then what's going on in this Mishnah? Why do I need a Mishnah for? And that's the Gemara's question now. There's no chiddush on the head. Why? Because I see it in two other Mishnayos. That same halacha. But once the head is born, the whole animal is born. So again, we're discussing this leg that went out, came back in. What's the chiddush in the head? A head was born, so you're not allowed to eat the entire fetus, even if it brings the head back out. What's the chiddush? The kivin, the yatzaraysh, you have a leda. Once that came out, it's considered a bird. Tanina, that also we learned. Oh, so let me just be magdim. Super interesting halachas today, I'm serious. When it comes to a bachar, there's two types of bachars. There's a bachar. What halachas does a bachar have? Think about it. What's special about a bachar? Two things. First of all, everybody knows. It gets two times, a second chelik in the Yerusha. That's all you guys care about. If you're not a bachar, you care about your older brother that he's going to get, yeah. And there's another thing. When he's born, you have to do Pidyon Haben. There's two very, very big nafkaminas between the two. Pidyon Haben has to do with the mother's first child. So sometimes you go to, you see a person has a baby, oh, mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, you go to the bris, the whole thing, and then you wonder to yourself, how come there's no Pidyon Haben? Could be a number of reasons. Either it's the wife is a kohen, but you know the wife very well. I mean, she's your sister or whatever. You're like, I'm not a kohen. She's not either a kohen. So what's going on there? How come there's no Pidyon Haben today? C-section. There's no C-section. It's very possible that she had a miscarriage, and a miscarriage makes the other kid that she had a second kid. So no, 1 month, this, that. You go ask your rabbanim. Somebody just asked me recently, do I have to make a opinion? I said, don't. What do I do? I'm a Daf Yomi guy. I give shiur. Go ask your local rabbi. My sister, just like in the last 2 months or whatever. So, but when it comes to Yerusha, it's a little different. Very different. Yerusha, who gets? Reishis Oinai. Reishis Oinai. So we learn in the Gemara, Reishis Oinai means the one that the father would have a lot of tsar if he dies. And when there's a miscarriage, the father doesn't have that amount of pain. Therefore, the miscarriage doesn't affect the Yerusha. So even if he's considered second for Pidyon Haben, he's considered first for the Yerusha. He gets 2 parts Yerusha. So you can't go and say, by the Yerusha fight, you can't say, oh, but he didn't have a Pidyon Haben, so he doesn't get 2 parts. No. It has nothing to do with Pidyon Haben. So it says like this, Tanino, but we already learned the halacha that once the head comes out, it's considered a birth. So if that's the case, I don't need it in our Mishnah. If I don't need it in our Mishnah, there's zero chiddush in our Mishnah. Case number 1 of the hand coming out, he said, is not a chiddush at all. It's really for the second case of the head. But the head is also not a chiddush. Why not? Tanino. It's a riddle. How do you have a b'char for 2 times Yerusha, for a second portion of Yerusha, but he's not for Pidyon Haben, you don't have to pay 5 slime. Haba, achar nefalim. The second kid, who comes after the first child was a nefel, is born, let's say, in the 8th month in the time of the Gemara, some nefel. Even though the nefel, the miscarriage, came out with a live head, or it was a full-term baby, the first one. He was delivered dead. His head came out dead. And the Gemara is Medai, time of the Rosh Hashanah, is because in the 9th month he came out dead. But if his head was alive, and that's the halacha that we see over here, that a live head, it's considered a birth. The first one was born, even though he might have died later on, he came out, his head was alive. So what do you see? It's all dependent on the head. The head is the birth. And the Mela, why does our Mishnah have to talk about the birth of a head? Oh, he'll tell you over there we're talking about a human being. The Bechar Lanach is talking about humans. And this Mishnah, Behema HaMikashla Leiled, is talking about an animal. And you can't learn one from the other. Why? I'll tell you why. There's two big nafkaminas. You can't learn a human being from an animal. Why? If you ever saw, we just showed a video of a zebra giving birth, but not mamish. An animal that gives birth, it's standing up and it's exposed to the world. Any direction that you look at it, you'll see the birth. By a human being, the thighs cover the birth from certain angles. So it's maybe the birth of the head is not considered a real birth, didn't come into the world. Not everybody could see it. We're not talking about, in Masechtas Nida, we're going to learn about proizor, which is referring to a pipe inside the woman's body. Over here, we're not talking about inside, we're talking about outside her body. There's a proizor. We're talking about the thighs. So once the head is born, if you're standing from the side, you won't see anything. And the male is not considered a birth. And another reason you can't learn an animal from a human. Today, we know for a fact, every 2 days, or every day, some of the terrorists from the Nukhba, they suddenly, a missile hits them somewhere in Gaza. What happened? These shaitim, they're running around on social media with, oh, look what I did, I attacked a tank, I did this. So they have their faces, facial recognition, wherever they are, they know exactly where every single one of them is, and Be'ez Hashem, they're all going to go bye-bye. Why? Because a human being, there's not a single face that resembles another face. Every face is different. We probably don't, I don't know, look it up. I'm sure there are other animals like monkeys or whatever that have a similar kind of thing, but like human beings, that everyone is so unique. The hair color and the cheeks and the eyes and everything is different about every single human being. So Mela, when a human being is born, it's a birth. Oh, his head. I can recognize him right away. It's different. I mean, all human beings, when they're born, they basically look like aliens. That's a different story. But they're different. An animal, a cow's born. You can't say, oh, there's a birth. This head looks exactly like the other cow. So Mela, the Choshev parts of the day. Nami Tanino. So the Gemara says that chiddush I also learned. So anyways, there's no chiddush in a head. Why? It says Shilyash Yatsa Miktsasa Asura Ba'achila. So you have the amniotic sac that the baby sits in, spends its pregnancy in. If a little part of that sac comes out, we're concerned that there used to be a baby in there. It got dissolved. And what are we concerned? We're concerned that there was a head. In the little part that came out, there's a head that got dissolved. So once again, we see that the head is considered the birth. And mainly you're not allowed to eat this amniotic sac. Because again, we're concerned about the head. Just like by a woman, we're concerned about a dissolved baby, so too by the animal, but the point is the head. So we already see that the birth of a head is what counts. And then the Gemara goes on with the question. Here's the question. Just about peh? Once again, we asked, why does it say that the animal stuck its hand out, brought the hand back in? The Gemara says, you're right. There's no chiddush at all. What's the chiddush? In the head. Head out, head in, big chiddush. Ask the Gemara, not a chiddush. I have 2 mishnayos that tell me the same thing already. The birth of the head is the birth. So then what's the chiddush in our mishnah? It's not the head part. So what is it? The hand, it's not the hand part. So what is it? Why do we have it? If you tell me there's a big chiddush in the hand, then what? That what? That you're allowed to eat the hand. Once the hand goes out and comes back in, there's a major chiddush. You're allowed to eat the hand, not like Rav. Like we're going to see Ula and Amud Beis. That's great. Now I have a chiddush in the Mishnah. So that's why even though there's no chiddush in the head, I'm saying it because of the hand. If you tell me there's 0 chiddush in the hand, and there's 0 chiddush in the head. So what's the point of this whole Mishnah? Says Gemara Loi, not the point of the whole Mishnah, but the point of that bringing it back in part. Loi lama ubar. There is a major chiddush here. We're talking about that you're allowed to eat the actual animal itself, the baby. And we're going to see this 3 times today. He's going to stand on the base, the makom chatach, which is the place of the cut. What happened? An animal sticks its hand out. Comes the owner, sees his animal struggling in his birth. He takes a knife, chops the hand right off. You have the part of the hand that's cut. By the cut, it's at the surface, at the opening of the animal. It's not outside and it's not inside. It's right there by the surface. If the hand was outside, it would be usher to eat. If the hand is inside, it would be mutter to eat. It's nishtahin and nishtaher, they say in Yiddish. Yo, nishtahin and nishtaher. Or like my friend says, nishtahin and nishtahin. Okay? So hold on a second. So now this part is not outside, not inside. Major chiddush, that if it pulls its hand back in, you're mutter to eat it with the shchita. Nachamal. Big chiddush. That area that's on the entrance of the animal, if it was outside, also. If it's inside, mutter. But it's not inside, not outside. If the animal was outside completely and it came back in, not mutter to eat. If it was in, no chiddush at all. The chiddush is that part, the mokim chatach of the part. Now we're going to have this 3 times in a row, so remember. Only if the animal pulls it completely back in, it's a big chiddush, you'll have to eat it. Tashma. Because it's in between, it's parav. And parav, you'll have to, Tashma. Behema mikasa leile. So now we go, our Mishnah. And it's not our Mishnah. It's a brayso, but it has a lot of similarities to our Mishnah. Behema mikasa leile. An animal is having difficulty giving birth. It stuck its hand out and pulled it back in. Then it checked the mother. Mutter ba'achila. So we have the same question. What's mutter, the hand or the whole animal? But we're going to try to prove it from the rest. But if you shechted the mother, and then it decided to pull its hand back in, of course, also b'achila. Why is it also b'achila? It's Eiver Menachai. That piece that came back in, it's not okay. It stuck its hand out and you cut it off. And you shechted the mother. The hand that you cut off is tamei. Why is it tamei? It's an avela. It's a dead animal that never had shchita. Dead animals that don't have shchita. Nachamol. A cow that dies without shchita is an avela. A cat that dies without a shchita is an avela. A snake that dies without anything is not metama. Why? Because the sheret, it's not from the Shmoyne Shrotzah. If it stuck out its hand and you cut it back, it's an avela of also it never got a shchita. And that is inside the animal, in other words, the entire fetus that's inside, tar, you're allowed to eat it. Here's a moyer, the shochat is imoy. You shechted the mother. And then you cut off that foot, that hand that was sticking out. Listen to this chiddush. Daf Sam Chesam Beis. Habasar magen nevela. The meat touched the nevela. Why? The foot that's outside is not part of the animal. It's not part of the shechita. That we said is a nevela. That is Eiver Menachai. And guess what? Eiver Menachai, nevela. What tumah is nevela? The highest that an animal could be, avatuma. Anything we know, anything that touches tumah goes down one level. So if meat, good kosher meat, which is the fetus, touches this Eiver Menachai part, this foot, the foot is avatuma. What's this over here? Rishoy. It jumps down one madrega. It becomes tamei, the tama, other mekalim. No, not other food. It's matama food. Habasar magen avela. It touched the Eiver Menachai part and becomes tamei. That's not important for us. No, it only touched a treifa, which shechted. So it's more negat to kachim. Akopanim tani mia, but it says tani mia reisha. It said in the beginning, stuck his hand out and then you shechted the mother. Mutar b'achila, you're allowed to eat it. My la va'aver. Now we're going to go through the motions here. What are we talking about? We're talking about what do you like to eat? You like to eat the foot, the hand. We're talking about the actual fetus, yaubar. But we're talking about The Uber, hey Mustaifa, Shocha this imoy v'achkach ziroi also b'achila. Now it can't be we're talking about a baby here, because everything has to be consistent. So we're talking about the baby and not the hands. So the whole mission is the baby. Now what happened in the second part? Hey Mustaifa, Shocha this imoy, you shechted the mother v'achkach ziroi, and then it brought its hand back in. Also b'achila. We're talking about the Uber. We're talking about the fetus. What's also b'achila? The Uber, am I aser? Why in the world would the baby become aser if it brought its hand back in? What, the rest of the baby's also aser? You're right. We're not talking about either. We're not talking about the baby. We're not talking about its hand. We're talking about one part of it, the part that's at the border. It's not inside. It's not outside. If it pulls it back in, it's mutter. Parsa. So listen to this. Avimi comes from Chazai. What does he bring? Usually a good uncle from America brings toys and cash. He brings a brisa. I have a brisa for the oilam. Here's a brisa. Parsa hechzir achoil. Parsa is hechzir achoil. Basically, he says these two words in the pasuk, parsa and prosos. It says twice. V'chol bein my first parsa. Any animal that has split hooves, parsa is 1, prosos is 2. Let's learn something from it. That if it stuck its hand out, the parsa hechzir brought it back in echol, you could eat it. Parsois hechzir echol, and if he brought it back in, you could eat it. The same thing basically twice. 2 feet came out, you could eat it. 1 foot came out, you could eat it. My love, hechzir parsa echol, parsa. L'chayra, same discussion that we're having up until now. Hand goes out, hand comes back in. You could eat what? Not the rest of the fetus. The hand itself. Loi. Hechzir parsa echol uber. You're allowed to eat the fetus, not the hand. Asking Gemara, uber my ear hechzir. The same question we had in the Mishnah. So then why does it say that he brought it back in? Here's Rav Nachman. We're talking about that area that's not inside the animal, it's not outside the animal, it's at the opening of the animal. And if it pulls it back in, then you're allowed to eat it after you shech the mother. Ask the Gemara, yes, I get it all. I heard this before, but you bring me 2 psukim, paras and prasos. There's 1 extra here. My love, okay, use the word parsa. But what about the Iver itself? What about the foot itself? Maybe that's I can learn from the word prasos. Says Gemara, you're 100% right. You do learn 2 things from the 2 words, but different than you want to do. 1, I'm going to use up for what, like you said. But 1, check this out. If a cow gives birth to something like this, it's a camel. Very good, Israel. A camel. But take a look at its feet. It's born from a cow, but it has tray feet. It doesn't have mafresh paras. It doesn't go through and through. It has exactly what a camel looks like. It has like these 2 giant toes. You allowed to eat this or not allowed to eat it? It was born from a cow, 2 cows, father and mother. Just it came out weird. Allowed to eat it or not allowed to eat it? So you're not allowed to eat it. But according to Reb Shimon, but in utero, if you shech the mother and it's in there and you find it like that, you're allowed to eat it. That's the second pasuk prasos. The what? V'chad l'kol b'mei para. V'aliv the Reb Shimon says, kol ben para asur. If a camel comes out and doesn't have mafresh paras, so also you're not allowed to eat it. How do we make it the yotzel aviroilans? Because it was born. If you shech the mother and you have a baby in there with no mafresh paras, sure you're allowed to eat it. Gishmak. And now we have the opposing shita to Rav, and this is going to disappear real quickly. Ula Amar Reb Yochanan. Rav was the Golador where in Bavel. Reb Yochanan was his contemporary, lived at the same time, was in Eretz Yisrael. Rav was slightly older, he's considered a Tana. Reb Yochanan is not considered a Tana. But Reb Yochanan was the Golador in Eretz Yisrael. Reb Yochanan argues, and he says, if a cow, while it's giving birth, it's not important, giving birth night, while she's pregnant, the baby sticks its hand out and pulls the hand back in. Says, Ula, you're allowed to eat the hand if you shech the cow mother and the baby's inside still. Vever atzmoy muter, says Rabbi Yochanan. You're allowed to eat the hand. I argue on Rav. So, I was just thinking to myself, in the nothing but the daf, those 10 seconds are going to be cut out, Be'ezer Hashem. But, of me trying to get that drink.
It's all your explanation of those 10 seconds.
Correct. They won't even see how good nothing but the daf is. Okay, so, says Rav Yehuda Lula, how could you argue? I'm just thinking out, yeah? Rav and Shmuel always argue. And all of a sudden, Rav and Shmuel are together on this. They don't argue. They say, what if the animal pulls its hand back, this is today's sugya, you can't eat the hand. How could you go and argue on them? There's a Gemara, I forgot where it is, that says that they used to go to Rav's cave and take some of that, the dirt from the cave and put in their eyes. Gemara says, on both of them, they're so chashuv. I hold to them oilamus. I'm going to take the dirt, put it in my eye, blind myself with it. That's how kaddish they are. I wish I could have some dirt from the caver and put it in my eye. But what am I going to do? Halacha is halacha. I'll put it in my eye. But Rabbi Yochanan said, everything was in the general rule. Shouldn't eat meat that's treifa from the field. What does it mean, akol? Whether it's kachim kalim, whether it's a chatos, a oila, or a shlamim, or a toida. That whole parsha with Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron HaKohen, why did you burn that chatos? And he tells him, did it go out? If it went out, I understand why you burned it. It didn't go out. What does it mean it didn't go out? If it went outside of the Hazara, the Beis Hamikdash for a second, you're not allowed to bring it back in. Once it went out, it's gone. So chatas with the part of Rahman Abba, only one time did the Torah stay on some item. If it goes out, it can't come back in. But all other things in the Torah, like a hand that went out of an animal, came back in, it should be okay. What is it coming to tell us? Oh, so now the Gemara jumps to another sugya completely. Somebody has a bunch of produce, he has to take 10% of it and bring it to Yerushalayim and eat it in Yerushalayim. And Bikurim, his first fruit, he brings to Yerushalayim, eats it only in Yerushalayim. If you take Meiser Sheini fruit and you bring it into Yerushalayim, then you take it outside Yerushalayim and bring it back to the Shemesh. You're allowed to bring it back to Yerushalayim, there's no problem. And I would think so too by the fetus. Tuck his hand out. Could bring his hand back in. Shech the mother, the hand's okay. I would think like Ula, that it's okay. Talmud Lema Treifa. No, it's like Rav and Shmuel. It's Treifa, you're not allowed to. My Talmud, where do you see it in the word Treifa? In the word, this Basma says Treifa. O Marava Kit Treifa. You treat it like a Treifa. Ma Treifa, keep it Shinit Treifa. Shuv Ein Laheter. When it comes to a Treifa, there's no backseas. You can't retroactive do something to apply a new rule to what you have now. Right now it's treifa, it's osir, finished. You can't undo that. So to the meat. Once it goes out of its boundaries, it went out of the mother, even if you brought it back in, it's also here before. It's not like you ula to yufta the ula to yufta. We have a bomb question on ula. We just learned. Where do you see that you're allowed to bring it back in? Not in Yerushalayim, in Bet Shemesh. Once it goes out of, even if you bring it back in Yerushalayim, it's 100% mutar. Rabbi, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schutz of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shiur today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.